talk about it, please. I was really flummoxed at the start because until very recently, talking like the last 2 years, I really didn't have a sense of my body like at all. I had no image of myself whatsoever. And the reason for that is because my body has always been in transition. I've always kind of felt like I had a construction sign around my neck that said, work in progress, revitalizing Chicago, nothing just like, don't bother. I apologize, take a different road, ignore it. It'll get better. I did some math recently, and since the time I was 13, I have lost and gained, and I am not including any time that I've lost 30 pounds or less, or gained 30 pounds. I'm not including those numbers. That's tidbits to me. Since the time I was 13, I have lost and gained over 700 pounds, which is fucking insane. And when I did the math, I was like, how am I going to talk to a group of women about body image when I really don't, I've never existed in one size, ever, just ever. The first time I lost weight, I was 13. It was with my mom, and I was doing it to get a boyfriend, pretty much. Too young to lose weight at 13. I recognize that now. I know my mom had good intentions, but we probably should have had a better talk about it. So I lost 50 pounds. Nobody wanted to date me. There's other things people are looking for than your weight. I found out much later. So I gained like 75. And then I lost 110 right before college. So I went to a new school, new state, and I was 110 pounds thinner. Thin for the first time in my life. But when I looked in the mirror naked, I saw boobs that had been a C cup, now like flat pancake A. And I saw that when I bent over, there were these like long flaps of skin that hung down and like saggy bags like a cow. So I looked thin, probably to everyone who saw me in clothes, but like naked, I was a mess. And like I didn't know what thin was, and I knew that I wasn't really thin. My body wasn't a thin person's body. So I didn't know really what to do. But men were like very attracted to me all of a sudden. And I was really afraid of that initially. And I met this boy, his name was Damien, and he was my first kiss. He was the first person who ever saw me naked, which was terrifying. He's the first person I ever had sex with. He's the first person who ever told me he loved me. And there's this really specific moment with him, maybe 3 months in, where we're in the theater department and my shirt kind of has ridden up. And he's like tugging it down and saying something about like, it's his body. One of those things like very possessive, like my body belongs to him. And we start talking about attraction, like what your type is, what kind of a person you look for. And I'm embarrassed and honest that like he was the type that I looked for in a man. I was very attracted to him. He's very, very, very lean and very like willowy, which I loved. I don't know why. I don't anymore. I don't know what that was. But, and he said to me, actually, you aren't my body type at all. You're not what I'm attracted to. Just like laid it out like that and moved on. And my brain imploded. Like, what the fuck? I spent, a year losing 110 pounds. He didn't know me when I was fat. And like, I've been working to meet this expectation, and I don't understand my body. And now this person that I'm dating tells me that it's not even attractive anyway, right? Like, what the fuck? And then like 2 months later, my mom killed herself, which is a whole other story for a different day. But like a combination of like not knowing who I was and my mom being just gone, I started to, like the floodgates open, like the food floodgates. And like 3 years later, 75 pounds back on. He's not taking me home to Christmas or Thanksgiving anymore. He's like hiding me. So I've got a lot of shame going on, obviously. And break up with him, and I meet Dan, who met me at my heaviest. Well, at the time it was my heaviest, which is crazy, because I've been even heavier since then. But he met me at my heaviest and wanted to date me, and I didn't really believe it at all. Like, he wants to date a fat girl, he's gonna break up with me like as soon as he meets someone thin, or as soon as he meets someone prettier. Like this is just a thing that he's trying out, is what I'm assuming. And the thing is that Dan is just very, very nice to me all the time, very complimentary. And we get into the body image, what are you attracted to talk. And he says, Danielle, you're really funny, and you're really smart, and you're really confident, and I'm really attracted to you. And it wouldn't matter if you were bigger than you are now or smaller. Like, it really doesn't matter to me. I'm attracted to you. And for years, I did not believe him. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, there is no way that you do not have an opinion about some of this. Like, you have to. You have to. Like, it's not possible that you look at this and you're like, yep, all good. I'm in. And it's taken me, years to buy into this. But he's been, consistent. He's a diplomat about my body. He has no opinion in Switzerland. I could be any size and he doesn't mind. I'm married to him now. And what he did for me was he kind of freed me, because I had spent all this time trying to meet this expectation, failing spectacularly, finding out that it didn't really matter anyway. Someone could still look at you and think, nope, that's not what I want. So I didn't have to worry about what a man thought of me anymore. So how do you figure out how you feel about yourself if you're not worried about men, right? How the fuck are you supposed to decide? So I realized, oh wow, I get to have an opinion about my body. If I'm not trying to impress him, who am I trying to impress, right? And I want to impress myself. I want to feel good about myself. So I started thinking about, how do you feel? As a human being, how do you feel in general? And at that point, I had lost 50 pounds for our wedding. And then, gained 90. So I'm 333 pounds. And I was tired every day. And I was sick constantly. And, I felt unwell. And I thought, you know what? I want to have kids. I want to be a better role model for the kids that I teach at my school. So I started to lose weight for myself. And I didn't have any sort of image of where I wanted to land in terms of size. I just knew that I needed to be healthier. And 50 pounds in, my friend Liz and I are coming out of a dance class. And she leans over and she's like, I don't know if this is a weird thing to say to you, but your butt is tight and lifted now and smaller too. And I just wanted to tell you if you had. She just that's it. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I went home and I where you're and I saw my butt for the first time in my life. I had never looked at my ass before. And this was 50 pounds into a weight loss journey that is still ongoing. So I was still in transition, but it was the first time that I had ever looked at my body in transition and thought, oh, that I like. This is a thing on me that makes me feel really good. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where the end is, but I like this, and I don't want this to go away. So I know wherever I go, I'm keeping this shit, and nobody's telling me, any different. So I'm now 141 pounds into this journey. I've lost 141 pounds, I should say. Thank you. And now I kind of got to figure out where to stop. And I read an article from a woman who lost 150 or 160. And I don't know, somebody might have seen the article besides me, but she had lost a lot of weight too. And she took pictures in a bikini for a magazine, and they photoshopped out all her skin flaps. And I read that, and I just felt so sad for her. But I also had this spark of a memory of bending down when I was really thin, and just feeling so insecure, just hating this thin body that I had worked so hard to achieve. And I realized that I like how I look right now. In this moment, I love my body. And if I try to go to this thin place that is possible, I'm pretty sure I'm going to feel less good about the way that I look. And I wouldn't know that if I hadn't been there before, so I guess there was a reason. But now I know that I'm like really, really close to exactly who I want to be. I feel really healthy and strong, and that's what I want to exude to the little kids that I teach. But I also want them to see that I'm a human person and that human people exist in lots of different shapes. So that's kind of where I am on my image today. But I wanted to be like full disclosure that I do still really struggle with some aspects of my body. For example, I'm not going to totally trip, but I was like, my wings, which, you know, I'm a drama teacher, so I do a lot of this, sleeveless, and kids will, you know, grab on and let me know, like, did you know your arms are really big? And I'm like, I sure did. Good to know. Thank you so much. Why are your arms so fat? I don't know. Let's keep going. Talk about something else. I have this, you can't see it because I got tights on, which you don't know why. I have a huge fat pustule from all the weight I've lost and gained. It's like a sack of fat that sits right underneath my knee, and there's actually, it's like one big one and two little ones. And which is why, if you see me in a dress that is shorter than this, I'm wearing tights. Because I'm convinced everybody is staring. Like, even right now, I'm like, I wonder if anyone has seen it. Which is crazy! You know, and like, there's days when all I can think about are my fat arms and my fat pustule. Like, they're the only things that matter. But I'm getting a lot better about letting those things go. I'm feeling more confident. This is the tightest dress I think I've ever worn. When I was 18, I had a dress that was less tight than this, and I was probably like 140 pounds. I was like, oh my god, my stomach is so fat. And now I'm like, oh, this is some good shit. Like, I don't know. I guess all I'm trying to say is that if your body image has anything to do with pleasing somebody else, you're doing it wrong. And it's not worth it. Because honestly, at the end of the day, people are going to be attracted to who you are, and like that's the person you should be with. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to imagine when you're heavy. But honestly, it's pretty fucking hard when you're thin. And someone's like, "Yep, you're not doing it for me." Like, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gotten there. But like the person, you are the only person you should be trying to impress physically, because you have to exist in your skin. And that is all I have to say on the subject.